Have you ever closed an app, feeling worse about your English than before you opened it? Have you ever watched someone speak fluently and felt something inside you quietly give up? If yes, keep reading. This is for you. Let me tell you about someone who loved English. This person watched movies in English, listened to podcasts, followed language coaches online, hungry to improve. But every video left them a little more tired, a little more discouraged. They would see a stranger speaking English smoothly, like water flowing over stones. No pauses, no searching for words, just flow. And they would look at themselves, at their own stumbling sentences, their own long pauses, their own accent thick and heavy in their ears. And they would think, I will never sound like that. What's the point? This happened again and again. Every video, every comparison, a small piece of motivation quietly dying each time. One night, after watching yet another Fluent in 6 Months video, they closed their laptop and just sat there in the dark. Something felt heavy. Not just disappointment, something deeper. A quiet voice whispering, you're not made for this. Some people just have it, you don't. Have you heard that voice before? The one that shows up right after you compare yourself to someone else and quietly convinces you that you are simply not good enough. That voice is a liar, but it's a clever liar. It doesn't shout, it doesn't announce itself, it just whispers again and again until you believe it. And here is the truth nobody tells you. Comparison is not motivation. Comparison is a thief. It sneaks in quietly and steals the one thing you need most to keep going. It steals your patience. Let's slow down for a moment. Think about what happens when you watch someone else speak fluent English. You don't just see their words. You see their confidence, their ease, their years of practice compressed into 60 seconds of video. But here's what you don't see. You don't see the year they spent too afraid to speak. You don't see the 100 times they said the wrong word in front of someone. You don't see the nights they also sat in the dark, wondering if they were good enough. You only see the finished result, the polished version, the highlight reel. This is the same in every part of life, isn't it? Not just English. We see someone's success and forget their long, quiet struggle. We see the flower and forget it once was buried underground, in the dark, pushing through soil, completely unseen. Nobody claps for a seed while it's underground. Nobody posts a video of it struggling beneath the earth. But that struggle, that invisible struggle, is exactly what makes the flower possible. Your struggle right now, with every stumbling sentence, every long pause, every moment you search for a word and can't find it, that is not proof that you are behind. That is the underground part of your growth. The part nobody sees, the part that is absolutely necessary. But comparison makes you forget this. Comparison shows you only the flower and convinces you that you should already look like one, even while you're still a seed underground. This is why comparison hurts so much. It's not because you're actually failing. It's because you're comparing a middle to someone else's ending. Or worse, someone else's highlight reel, which was never even the full truth. Here is something important to understand. Comparison doesn't just make you feel bad for a moment. It does something worse. Over time, it makes you quiet. Think about the person in the story. Every time they compared themselves, they spoke a little less, practiced a little less, avoided conversations afraid people would hear how far behind they were. Comparison didn't just steal their mood, it stole their practice. And without practice, their English stayed stuck exactly where it was. This is the cruel trick of comparison. It convinces you to stop at the exact moment you need to keep going. Imagine someone learning to walk again after an injury. Every step is shaky, every step is slow. Now imagine that person constantly watching Olympic runners and feeling ashamed of their own slow, careful steps. Would you tell them to stop walking because they're not running yet? Of course not. You would tell them, your steps matter. Slow is still forward. Keep going. This is exactly what you need to tell yourself. So what changed? One day, a friend said something that was never forgotten. There had been complaints, once again, about feeling so far behind compared to fluent speakers online. The friend simply asked, "Behind who? You're not in a race against them. You're only walking your own road." That sentence stopped everything. It became clear. A race that didn't exist had been running the whole time, comparing chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 30, judging a beginning by someone else's years of practice. Nobody does that in other parts of life. A parent doesn't compare their 1-year-old's first wobbly steps to a marathon runner. They celebrate the steps because they understand this is where growth begins. So a new approach began. Instead of watching fluent speakers and measuring the distance between them and yourself, the better comparison is between yourself now and the person you were 6 months ago. Small comparison, honest comparison, fair comparison. And something surprising happens when you do this. You start to notice you understand more than before. Conversations start to feel slightly less terrifying. The pauses grow shorter, even if they don't disappear completely. None of this becomes visible if you keep comparing yourself to strangers online. But when you compare yourself only to your own past, the growth becomes impossible to ignore. Here is the first mindset shift, and it's simple. Stop measuring yourself against someone else's finish line. Start measuring yourself against your own starting point. And here is the second shift, just as powerful. Someone else's fluency is not proof of your failure. It is only proof of what is possible, eventually, for you too, if you keep going. Maybe you scroll through videos of confident English speakers and feel that familiar heaviness in your chest. Maybe you've quietly decided that some people are just naturally good at languages and you are not one of them. I want you to hear this clearly. Nobody is naturally fluent. Fluency is not a gift some people are born with. It is built, slowly, quietly, through repetition, mistakes, and time. Every fluent speaker you admire once stood exactly where you stand now. Confused, slow, comparing themselves to someone else, feeling behind. The only difference between you and them is that they kept walking their own road instead of standing still, staring at someone else's. You are allowed to admire fluent speakers. Let them inspire you. But the moment admiration turns into comparison, into a weapon you use against yourself, it stops helping you. It starts hurting you. Watch them to see what's possible, not to measure how far behind you are. Your worth was never sitting inside someone else's fluency. Your value as a person has nothing to do with how smooth your English sounds compared to another human being on another continent with a completely different journey than yours. You are not your comparison to anyone else. You never were. But your English, your own English, built slowly in your own time, can still set you free. It can open doors. It can carry your voice to rooms you've never entered. It can let people meet the real you, underneath the fear and the pauses and the searching for words. You are not behind, you are becoming. And becoming is not a race. Nobody wins by finishing first. Some people start earlier. Some people have more time to practice. Some people had easier beginnings. None of that has anything to do with your value or your future. Every sentence you speak today, compared honestly to where you started, is proof of real, quiet, unstoppable growth. So today, close the tab that makes you feel small. Stop measuring yourself against someone else's chapter 30. And just speak one sentence. Compare it only to your silence yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters.